All right, hey everybody, Mr. Wagner here. We are on Breakout 14. Last time we just did a little bit of cleanup, and I got one more thing to do in cleanup, and that is right down here when we create a new brick, or I'm sorry, I take that back. When we create a new game or a new ball, what I would like to do is, instead of dx being 6, meaning we're always jumping the ball to the right when we restart, I want it to either jump to the right or jump to the left. So let's go ahead and say dx equals, let's see here, random.choice, and then we have to give it the 2 random choices. So 6 or -6. Okay, it looks like random is not in here yet, so we need to put random in. That's an import. Let me go ahead and put this down here, and then let's go back up to import, and we'll add random. Okay, so here's import. We'll drop that down, and you see I don't have import random. So import random, okay? And if I were to scroll right back down again, you will see that that random is no longer underlined in red, okay? So, you know, when you're using PyCharm, look for those underlines in red. They're really there to help you out. Okay, so let's go ahead and run this and see what we get. Now notice up here, I have Breakout 13. I'm really trying to run Breakout 14. So I really need to do a right click and run Breakout 14. Okay, so we'll hit new. And if I hit space, boy, they're both going to the right. Let's make sure we get, yeah, we get one going to the left. Okay, so that's in good shape. So today, we're going to get to play around with some fun stuff here. What I'm going to do is our bricks, we want to make this game more interesting. So we're going to have different types of bricks. So if you hit a brick of one type, it does one thing. You hit a brick of a different type, it does another thing, okay? And to start out with, let's create a few constants so we can keep track of our different brick types. Now there's a lot of different ways to do what I'm doing, but a constant is probably one of the easiest ways. Okay, so let's create a constant called normal. And we're going to say that's equal to 0. You know what? Let me drop a comment in here. Let's say brick kinds. So we have a normal brick. We have an invincible brick. Invincible brick. We're going to say that's 1. We have a countdown brick. So we'll call that 2. And we have a falling brick, and we'll say that's 3. Now, those are the 3 that I'm going to program in the next few lessons. But I'm sure you can come up with other ones because you've all played Breakout before. And this is where it gets really fun. It's like it's all up in here. Your game. You can figure out whatever you want to do with it. All right, so let's create an invincible brick kind. Okay, now the first thing we need to do is we need to create a brick of an invincible kind. So in our constructor, remember that's the function that creates the brick, let's add another parameter in the constructor. So we're going to say kind, and then we're going to say equals normal. Okay, so we are creating a normal brick as a default, right? That kind of makes sense, right? So we're going to come up here and we're going to say self dot kind equals kind. Okay. Now then, the next thing we're going to need to do, I mean, we're able to create a kind of brick, but we basically need to, when we make all of our bricks, then, you know, a certain number of those bricks need to be invincible bricks. So let's think about how we do that. We're going to go into the make bricks function, which makes the most sense because we're making bricks there. And if you notice in make bricks, here, let me scroll this down a little bit. This is our make bricks function. We go through all the rows and all the colors, and we make a brick, and that is right here on line 69 where we're making a brick, okay? Now, if we use a random number generator, then we can create a certain percentage of those bricks that are going to be invincible bricks, okay? So let me show you how I like to do that. I will do something like this. I will type in RND, just a variable, random variable, equals random dot rand int, and I'm going to create a random integer between 1 and 100, and that includes 1 and includes 100. And then I'm going to say if RND is greater than or equal to 95. So in other words, I've generated any number between 1 and 100, but if that number happens to be greater than 95, then I'm going to say that's an invisible brick, okay? So in here, I'm going to say new brick equals brick, and then brick rectangle. Let's make our brick gray. So pygame dot color gray. Okay. We need points. So let's say 0 points, because if we hit it, it's not worth anything. And then we're going to say kind, or we don't have to say kind equals. We can just say invincible. Okay, because we know the word, we know the constant for invincible is 1. Okay, and if it's not an invincible brick, then it is just a regular normal old brick. Okay. So let's go ahead and try running this and see if we get some invincible gray bricks. Run. Yes. Okay. So you see all these different gray bricks. Those are all invincible. Okay. Now, if I hit new and I hit them, let's see what happens. What happens when we hit a gray brick? That'd be helpful if I hit a gray brick. Okay. They still go away. So we still need to make the bricks invincible. And where we would do that is we need to look at our ball brick, you know, the code where the ball interacts with the brick. Okay, so let's go see if we can find that. Let's scroll down. Let's see here, making our bricks, initial drawing. Okay, we're in our game loop. Ball brick interaction. Okay, so right here we say, okay, so if pygame rect collide rect, so here's where a ball hits a rectangle. That's great. Here's where we reverse the direction, so we bounce off of the brick. And then we, right in here, we're going to say if b.kind, and I'm going to use bang equals. Okay, so exclamation point. Computer people, computer programmers, they call that bang. So they'll say bang equals, which means not equals. Okay, so if it's not equal to invincible, then we are going to do the score and we are going to remove the brick. Okay, now if it hits it, it just moves on. Okay. Sound good? All right. Let's see here. Yeah, that should work. Okay, let's take a look. So we'll hit N. Here we go. it would help if I hit something. May have to speed this one up again too. Okay, notice how that gray brick did not go away. And if I hit a gray brick, it will definitely bounce off of it, but I won't get any points because it doesn't add points. And oh yeah, so I know that we do have a little bit of a problem here, okay? And the problem happens if the ball clears all the bricks, okay? Because if the ball clears all the bricks, but yet we cannot remove any of the invincible bricks, then that's a problem, right? So what we need to do here is see this where this says if the length of bricks equals 0. That's not quite true anymore because it's kind of like we really need to have a function that says, you know, if there are no more bricks that aren't invincible, then we do that stuff, okay? And what we're going to do is we're going to create ourselves a function that returns a true or a false, okay, depending on if there's no more bricks. So let's do something like this. Let's say if no more bricks, and let's go ahead and pass it the bricks, okay? And if there's no more bricks, then we can do all of that stuff, okay? Does that make sense? Okay, so now we've defined this no more bricks, but notice how it's underlined in red. That means we haven't written that function yet. So let's go write that function and see how we can check to see if there are no more bricks that aren't invisible. Okay, invincible, sorry. Okay, so let's scroll up and we're going to go to the area where we have other functions. So here's our function make bricks. So we'll go right after that. And we are going to say def, so define a function, no more bricks. And we're going to pass it our bricks list. Okay, now we can just, well, first off, let's start out and just say, you know, if the length of the bricks equals 0, which is kind of like what we had before, then we can return true, okay, because there's no more bricks, right? Otherwise, else, so we're going to say for b in bricks, and then we're going to say if b dot kind not equal, remember bang equal, invincible. Okay, so if the kind is not invincible, then we return false. Okay, now the reason you would return false there is because you found a brick that's not invincible. Okay, so you found a normal brick or a falling brick or some sort of brick that's not invincible. So we know that no more bricks is false at that point. Okay, so we're returning false, right? Otherwise, we are going to return true. Oops. Okay, so now let's think about this. So we go through each brick. If the brick is not invincible, we can return false because we found a brick that's not invincible. So no more bricks is definitely false. And if it makes it through the entire for loop, then we return true, okay? Now notice how my return true is at the same level of tabbing over as the for loop, okay? If I had it here, that really wouldn't work right because that would return true after this first if statement happened, okay? It has to be here because I have to go through the entire list of bricks before I know that it's true, okay? Subtle difference, okay? But you need to be aware of that. Okay, so now we have no more bricks. So let's go ahead and run this. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and play, but I know that I'm going to have to speed this up. Hey, I got it. Yes. Okay, that only took me like 10 minutes. All right, so it looks like that little routine works, and we can go on to Breakout 15, where we're going to create a countdown brick. Okay, so on we go to Breakout 15. Everybody have a fantastic day, and I'll see you there.